what is your name?
My name is Maria Bradley.
Have you been interviewed for this project yet?
No.
Okay, I have a couple of questions to ask you. Where are you from?
I am from Colorado Springs.
Okay, which neighborhood?
I don't really remember because I was born there and I don't have that many memories.
Okay, so would you rather prefer to talk about Chicago since you live here now?
Yes.
Okay, so how long have you lived in Chicago?
10 years.
Cool. What role do you play in your community? It could be like where you live or school, stuff like that.
In school, I'm co-section leader of the Fleets, I guess.
Okay. And what is your definition of a community?
A group of people that can discuss problems without like a lot of argument.
Okay. How have you been impacted by your community?
Well, recently there's been a lot of like police violence and like black on black crime, black on white crime, and vice versa. And it makes it kind of like unsafe for people like me to like travel around.
Okay, how would your life be different if you lived in a different community?
In my opinion, every community has its own problems, so there could be a lot of negative outcomes of how a community would affect me personally, depending on what neighborhood I live in.
Okay, how have you been, well, if you could change anything about your community, what would that be?
Probably the racism and the discrimination. Yeah.
Okay, so where do you think that racism stems from?
A lot of people being afraid of things they've never seen before.
So the racism comes from preconceived notions that they don't actually know is true.
Yes.
Okay. How do you think your community is viewed by other people?
Based on race, really. I feel like people think that our neighborhood is probably filled with hooligans and tyrants and violent people.
And why do you think they think that?
Because based on recent statistics and like news and articles, and you read about all of this negative content about our neighborhoods on the south side every now and then. So it makes people feel that our neighborhoods aren't as good as theirs and that it's very dangerous to be in our neighborhoods.
Okay. And do you think it's unfair that people view your community this way?
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I feel that if someone who has lived in the neighborhood for as long as I have, you learn to see the beauty in your own neighborhood. So it's different for everybody, and it depends on how long you've been living in a specific neighborhood.
Okay, so do you think people might have any negative views about your community?
Yes.
And how do you think those views might be changed, and what do you think those views are?
Well, basically, I feel like most of the negative views that are seen in our community by other people who don't live in the community could possibly be changed by, having personal experience inside of the community that they feel is dangerous or unsafe.
Okay. Every city has violence in it, but why do you think the issue of violence in Chicago is portrayed to be way much bigger compared to other cities?
We're a big city full of a lot of diversity, so I feel like the way people see it is there's a majority of people who commit certain crimes, and the number of those certain crimes that are committed annually in Chicago are compared to other states more than other people have experienced before. So some people have a lot of negative comments about Chicago in general.
Okay. If you were in charge of the media, what would you show what would you do to change the perspective people have about your community?
Me personally, if I was in charge of the media, I would start off by showing the poverty in the community, because I feel like poverty is something that a lot of people can relate to, because poverty exists all over. So if you can relate to something, maybe you will have more of a sympathetic view towards something that was once negative in your eyes. But if you see that you actually have more in common with the people that you see as dangerous, they might seem a little less harmless than they were.
Okay. What are top 3 issues or concerns that you would like to start a conversation about?
Jobs, racism, and poverty.
And how do you intend on starting a conversation about those 3 things?
First, it has to start in the community first. So maybe, getting a group of people together, starting small, and then expanding our horizons to the governmental bodies.
Okay. How do you see Chicago in the future? Is it good or bad?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. So, in my opinion, it could go either way. But currently, in my opinion, I feel like it would be more towards the negative side because of how much crime is going on and how little is being done to solve these problems.
Okay, so based on that negative view that you think Chicago might have in the future, how do you think we can prevent that from happening?
I feel like people just really need to get a better understanding of what's going on so they can grasp the concept and provide better problem solving skills for each different types of situation for each community and every race and person.
Okay. Do you think it's important to keep an ongoing dialogue about our communities and the issues we might have in it?
Yes, because if you don't talk about the issues you have, eventually no one's going to remember the issues and they're going to claim it to be irrelevant and that it has no effect on our community when it really does.
Okay. Are there any questions that you would like for me to ask other people I interview?
No.
Okay. Do you have any additional comments?
No.
Okay. Thank you for your time.